The massive Imperial flagship destroyer emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, its dark hull blocking out distant stars. Admiral Rex stood on the bridge, his tall figure reflected in the polished floor. His red and gold uniform sparkled under the bright lights as he studied the holographic display of Earth. "Status report," he commanded, his voice deep and confident. The bridge crew worked quickly at their stations, gathering data about their target planet. "My lord, initial scans confirm previous reports," said First Officer Dale, checking his screens. "The locals call it Earth. Technology level. Category 3. They have achieved basic spaceflight, but haven't expanded beyond their moon. Primary weapons, nuclear devices, and chemical rockets." Rex smiled. This would be the easiest conquest of his career. The Empire had taken thousands of worlds, and Earth looked like just another primitive planet waiting to join their vast territory. He zoomed in on the hologram, watching the tiny satellites orbiting the blue planet. "Look at their crude machines," Rex said, pointing at a space station. "They're still using solar panels for power. Intelligence suggests they haven't even discovered basic shield technology." He turned to his weapons officer. "How many ships would we need for a full invasion?" "Based on their technology levels, sir, a single battle group would be more than enough. 300 ships should overwhelm their defenses in minutes." The bridge crew laughed. They had conquered worlds with far better technology using fewer ships. Earth would be an easy victory for the Empire. What they didn't notice was a small, apparently dead satellite quietly watching their fleet. Deep below Earth's surface, in a hidden command center, computers recorded every word spoken on the Imperial flagship. "Show me their military bases," Rex ordered. The hologram changed to display Earth's armed forces. He saw airfields with primitive jets, ports filled with metal ships floating on water, and ground forces using wheeled vehicles. Pathetic. They still fight on the ground with projectile weapons. First Officer Dale approached with a data tablet. "Sir, there's something interesting in the cultural scan. They have many stories about alien invasions. They seem to fear contact with advanced civilizations." Rex laughed again, as they should. "Prepare the fleet for deployment. We'll position our ships around their planet before broadcasting our demands. Give them 1 hour to surrender after the announcement." The massive engines of the Imperial ships hummed to life as they moved closer to Earth. Their dark shapes blocked out parts of the stars as they formed an attack pattern. 300 warships, each capable of destroying a city, spread out in a perfect formation. Below them, Earth continued its peaceful rotation. Cities glowed on the night side, and satellites maintained their regular orbits. Everything looked normal, exactly as their intelligence had reported. "Sir," called out the sensor officer, "I'm detecting some unusual energy readings from the planet's power plants. They seem to be producing more power than their technology should allow." Rex waved his hand dismissively. "Probably a sensor malfunction. Our equipment isn't calibrated for such primitive technology." He straightened his uniform and turned to the communications officer. "Prepare the surrender broadcast. Tell them they have 1 hour to submit to Imperial rule, or we will demonstrate our power by destroying their largest city." As the Empire's fleet moved into position, they remained completely unaware of the truth. Deep underground, in bunkers across Earth, advanced quantum computers tracked every Imperial ship. Military commanders worldwide watched the alien fleet with knowing smiles. Earth's apparent weakness was the result of decades of careful planning and deception. The Empire had just made the biggest mistake in its history. They had judged Earth by what they could see, never considering that humanity might be hiding its true power. As Admiral Rex prepared to demand Earth's surrender, he had no idea that his mighty fleet was already trapped in humanity's web. The real question wasn't whether Earth would survive the invasion. The question was, would the Empire survive its attempt to conquer Earth? The Empire's message boomed across every radio, television, and digital screen on Earth. Admiral Rex's hologram appeared everywhere, his voice translated into all major languages. People of Earth, your planet is now under the control of the Galactic Empire. Your primitive civilization has 1 hour to surrender. Resist, and we will destroy your largest city as a demonstration of our power. Choose wisely. In New York, people stopped in Times Square, looking up at the giant screens. In Tokyo, crowds gathered in streets, watching the alien message. Panic began to spread through cities worldwide. But deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in the United Earth Defense Council's main command center, General Jack Thompson watched the message with a slight smile. The massive underground chamber hummed with activity as military personnel worked at their stations, all appearing surprisingly calm despite the alien threat above. They really fell for it, Thompson said, turning to his staff. The command center's main screen showed all 300 Imperial ships positioned around Earth. Each one was marked with a red dot, already locked in by Earth's hidden defense systems. Major Tom Wilson approached with a tablet. "Sir, the Empire's ships are exactly where we predicted they would be. Their tactical formation matches all our simulations. They're following standard Category 3 invasion protocols." Thompson nodded. For 30 years, Earth had studied the Empire through their own hidden quantum sensors. They knew every Imperial battle strategy, every weapon, and every weakness. While the Empire thought they were observing a primitive planet, Earth had been quietly preparing for this moment. Status of civilian evacuation, Thompson asked, watching more data flow across the screens. "All major cities have activated their underground shelters, sir. We're using the panic as cover to move people to safety. The Empire thinks they're running in fear, but everyone is following the evacuation plans we've practiced for years." On the surface, news channels showed scenes of chaos. People rushed to stock up on supplies, filled their cars with gas, and tried to leave major cities. But it was all part of the plan. Every traffic jam, every crowded store, and every panicked crowd helped convince the Empire that Earth was just another helpless planet. "Sir," called out Lieutenant Lisa Green from her station, "the quantum shield generators are all at full power. They're still masked as regular power plants. The Empire's scans show nothing unusual." Thompson walked to the main console and opened a secure channel to all Earth's hidden military bases. "All commands, this is General Thompson. 30 years ago, we discovered the Empire's existence. We knew they would come eventually. Everything we've done since then has led to this moment." He paused, looking at the countdown timer. 50 minutes remained until the Empire's deadline. "The enemy above us thinks they're hunting sheep, but they've walked into a trap. Every Imperial ship up there is already targeted. Their shields can't stop our quantum weapons. Their sensors can't detect our true technology. They expect to find Stone Age spears, but we have lightning ready." In orbit, Admiral Rex watched Earth's apparent panic with satisfaction. His sensors showed massive population movement, exactly what he expected from a primitive civilization facing superior forces. Everything was going according to plan. He didn't notice that Earth's primitive satellites were slowly adjusting their positions. He didn't realize that every power plant's inefficient energy readings were actually quantum generators powering up. The Empire's mighty fleet floated in space, completely unaware that they were already surrounded. "Sir," First Officer Dale reported, "we're detecting increased radio traffic from Earth. They appear to be arguing about whether to surrender. Their military leaders are in chaos." Rex smiled. "Of course they are. Primitive species always fight among themselves in a crisis. Prepare the weapon systems. When the deadline comes, we'll show them what happens to planets that defy the Empire." The Empire's deadline counted down, but it wasn't Earth's time that was running out. The hunters were about to become the hunted, and humanity's trap was ready to spring. 30 years earlier, Director Anna Miller stood in a small underground lab, staring at the impossible. The quantum field generator, no bigger than a refrigerator, hummed quietly as it bent the laws of physics. Around her, 20 of the world's best scientists watched in amazement as their test missile simply vanished from normal space. "It works," she whispered, checking the readings. "We can now track and hit targets in hyperspace." That discovery changed everything. Within hours, every major world leader received the same urgent message. Humanity was not alone, and they were not safe. But they had an advantage. They had discovered this technology before making contact with alien civilizations. Present day. In the command center, Director Miller, now much older, stood beside General Thompson. On the screens above them, 30 years of preparation were about to pay off. "Remember when we first detected their scout ships?" she asked, watching the Imperial fleet holding position around Earth. "Everyone wanted to announce our quantum technology to the world. Show everyone we could defend ourselves." Thompson nodded. "But you had a better idea." "Hide everything," Miller said. "Make Earth look weak. Let any watching aliens think we were just another primitive planet. Meanwhile, we built our defenses in secret." The room's displays showed images from the past decades. Fake satellite launches that actually deployed quantum sensors. Power plants that were really shield generators. Radio telescopes that could track ships in hyperspace. Everything built in plain sight, but disguised as primitive technology. "Status report," Thompson called out. Major Wilson responded from his station. "All quantum shields are ready, sir. The Empire still thinks our power plants are running on nuclear fission. Their scans show exactly what we want them to see." On another screen, they watched a replay of their greatest deception. 10 years ago, they had launched what the world thought was a failed space mission. The rocket exploded spectacularly over the Pacific Ocean. But in reality, they had used the explosion to hide the deployment of their most powerful weapons, quantum disruptors that could turn an Imperial ship's own hyperspace engines into a weapon. "Director Miller," Lieutenant Green called out, "you should see this. The Empire is scanning our old missile silos." Miller smiled. Those silos were empty now, just props in humanity's greatest play. The real weapons were hidden in plain sight. In office buildings, in shopping malls, in ordinary-looking structures around the world. "How many ships do they have up there?" Miller asked. 300 warships, Director, exactly as predicted. Their arrogance made them predictable. They always send the same size fleet to conquer a Category 3 planet. In orbit, the Imperial ships continued their scans, finding exactly what they expected: an outdated nuclear arsenal, primitive rockets, and simple satellites. Their complex sensors swept Earth again and again, but they couldn't detect what they didn't know to look for. "Final check," Thompson ordered. "All stations report." The responses came in from hidden bases worldwide. "Quantum shields ready. Hyperspace tracking active. All weapons locked on target. Civilian bunkers secured." Miller walked to the main console, remembering all the years of preparation. They had built an invisible fortress around Earth, and the Empire was about to crash right into its walls. "It's almost sad," she said. "They really think they're the advanced ones. Their ships are impressive, their weapons are powerful, but they're about to learn that technology isn't about how impressive something looks. It's about how smart you are in using it." Thompson checked the timer. 20 minutes remained until the Empire's deadline. "Director Miller," he said, "would you like to show them what 30 years of preparation looks like?" Miller nodded, her hand hovering over the activation control. Earth's moment of revelation was about to begin, and the Empire's lesson in humility was about to start. Admiral Rex stood proudly on his flagship's bridge as the deadline approached. Earth's hour was almost up, and still no surrender message had arrived. He watched the planet's cities through his ship's advanced cameras, noting the panic in the streets with satisfaction. "Send another scan of their military bases," he ordered. "I want to see their pathetic defenses one last time before we destroy them." First Officer Dale worked at his console, directing the Empire's sensors toward Earth's visible military installations. "Sir, scans show they've moved their ground forces into defensive positions. They appear to be preparing to fight back." He laughed. "With bullets and missiles, sir." Rex walked to the main viewport, his reflection proud and tall in the reinforced glass. Below him, Earth's blue oceans and green continents turned slowly in space. Such a pretty world, he thought. Soon it would be just another conquered planet in the Empire's vast territory. 5 minutes until the deadline, Admiral Dale announced. Prepare to fire on their largest city, Rex commanded. Let's show them what happens when. A junior officer interrupted him. Sir, energy spike from the surface. Probably just another primitive nuclear reactor, Rex said dismissively. Their power plants are so inefficient. Multiple energy spikes, sir. They're everywhere. On Earth, in the underground command center, General Thompson looked at Director Miller and nodded. They're in position. Time to spring the trap. He pressed a button on his command console. All stations. Execute Protocol Omega. Authorization code. Humanity stands. Around the world, thousands of hidden quantum generators activated simultaneously. Office buildings, shopping malls, radio towers, and power plants suddenly revealed their true purpose. The Empire's sensors lit up with energy readings that shouldn't have been possible from a Category 3 civilization. On the Imperial flagship's bridge, alarms began blaring. Admiral, Dale shouted, his voice shaking. These energy readings, they're beyond anything in our database. Rex rushed to the sensor display, his confidence cracking for the first time. Impossible. They're primitives. They barely have space flight. They can't. Sir, another officer screamed. Our shields, something's interfering with them. In the command center, Director Miller watched the quantum field grid power up. 30 years of hiding, she said quietly. 30 years of letting them think we were weak. And now, Thompson picked up his secure phone. All commands, you are weapons free. Show them what humanity can do. Above Earth, the Empire's mighty fleet was about to learn a harsh lesson. Their advanced shields, designed to stop any known weapon, were useless against quantum attacks they'd never imagined possible. Their powerful sensors, calibrated to detect any normal technology, were overwhelmed by readings they couldn't understand. Admiral, Dale's voice was pure panic now. Multiple weapons locked onto us. They're somehow targeting our hyperspace engines. Rex grabbed his command chair as his ship shuddered. Impossible. Their weapons are primitive. They can't. Sir, we're detecting quantum field distortions. They're not primitive at all. They've been hiding their real technology. Rex finally understood. All their scans, all their intelligence, all their assumptions had been wrong. They hadn't found a primitive civilization waiting to be conquered. They'd walked into a trap set by a superior force that had deliberately appeared weak. All ships, retreat. He screamed into the fleet comm. Get us out of. But it was too late. Humanity's quantum weapons were already firing, and the Empire's greatest fleet was about to learn that appearances can be deceiving. In the command center, Thompson watched the first wave of attacks reach the Imperial ships. Let's show them, he said quietly, exactly why you should never judge a civilization by what they let you see. The sky lit up like a new sun as Earth's quantum weapons fired. From the ground, people in their bunkers watched through reinforced windows as golden beams shot upward from seemingly ordinary buildings. Power plants, radio towers, and office blocks revealed their true nature, their fake exteriors falling away to show advanced weapon systems. In the command center, Major Wilson called out readings. First wave of quantum disruptors hitting their targets. Enemy shields are failing. On the main screen, they watched as the Empire's mighty warships discovered their fatal mistake. The quantum beams didn't just hit their shields, they passed through them, as if they weren't there. Each beam connected with the ship's hyperspace engines, turning their own power against them. Status report, Thompson ordered, watching the battle unfold. 80 Imperial ships destroyed in the first wave. Lieutenant Green responded. Their shields are useless against our quantum weapons. They're trying to retreat, but our targeting systems are locked on their engine cores. Above Earth, the Imperial fleet was in chaos. Ships that had never known defeat were exploding one after another. Their advanced technology, which had conquered 1,000 worlds, meant nothing against weapons they'd never imagined possible. "Sir," First Officer Dale's panicked voice echoed through the Imperial command channel. "We've lost the entire third battle group. Our weapons can't penetrate their defensive grid." Admiral Rex watched in horror as another wave of golden beams rose from Earth. His mighty fleet, the pride of the Empire, was being torn apart by a civilization they'd thought primitive. "How?" he demanded. "How did they hide this from us?" On his screens, he watched as Earth's true defense grid became visible. The quantum shield network activated fully, creating a golden web of energy around the planet. Every satellite they'd dismissed as primitive suddenly revealed its true purpose, forming an interlocking network of defensive positions. "Admiral," Dale shouted, "they're not just targeting our ships, they're targeting our retreat vectors. They can track us in hyperspace." In the command center, Director Miller watched her 30 years of work pay off. "Quantum tracking grid is at full power," she reported. "They can run, but they can't hide. Every hyperspace route is covered." Thompson nodded. "Show them what happens when you underestimate humanity." The next wave of attacks was devastating. Earth's quantum weapons fired in perfect synchronization, each beam finding its target with impossible accuracy. Imperial ships tried to flee into hyperspace, only to discover that humanity's weapons could follow them even there. "Enemy fleet status?" Thompson asked. 240 ships confirmed destroyed," Wilson reported. "The remaining 60 are attempting to regroup, but their formation is broken. Their command and control is in chaos." Through the Imperial command channel, they could hear the panic spreading. "We can't stop their weapons. How did they hide this technology?" "Retreat, full retreat. They're targeting our hyperspace engines." Miller watched the destruction with mixed feelings. "They came expecting to find primitives with simple weapons," she said. "Instead, they found a civilization that had spent 30 years preparing specifically for them." Another wave of quantum beams lit up the sky. More Imperial ships vanished in flashes of light as their hyperspace cores overloaded. The mighty fleet that had arrived to conquer Earth was being systematically destroyed by the very civilization they'd thought too primitive to resist. "Sir," Lieutenant Green called out, "the enemy flagship is attempting to broadcast a message." Thompson looked at Miller. "Should we let them speak?" She shook her head. They had their chance to talk. They chose to threaten us instead. Let them learn their lesson in silence. The quantum weapons fired again, and more Imperial ships disappeared into golden fire. Humanity's response to the Empire's aggression was complete, devastating, and absolutely final. Admiral Rex stood in his crumbling flagship, watching his mighty fleet die. The bridge around him was filled with smoke and screams as systems failed one after another. Warning lights flashed everywhere, and the ship's computer kept repeating, "Critical damage. Hyperspace core unstable." "How many ships do we have left?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. First Officer Dale checked the damage displays. 20 ships still responding, Admiral. We've lost everything else." His voice cracked. "Sir, we've never lost more than 5 ships in any battle before today." Through the viewport, they watched another Imperial warship explode in a flash of golden light. Earth's quantum weapons were still firing, each shot finding its target with perfect accuracy. The Empire's greatest fleet had been reduced to scattered survivors in less than an hour. In Earth's command center, Major Wilson updated the battle display. "Enemy fleet is at 93% destruction. Sir, their remaining ships are trapped between our defensive layers. They can't escape." General Thompson nodded. "Show me their flagship." The main screen showed Rex's ship, its once proud hull now scared and burning. The mighty vessel that had conquered dozens of worlds was now barely holding together. "Sir," Lieutenant Green called out, "we're detecting a massive power surge from their flagship. They're trying something desperate." On the Imperial flagship, Rex had made his final decision. Divert all power to the main weapon, he ordered. If we're going to die, we'll take their biggest city with us. The ship's mighty cannon began to charge, drawing power from every remaining system. The weapon that had destroyed countless cities on other worlds hummed as it prepared to fire. Director Miller watched the power readings climb. They never learn, do they? She pressed a button on her console, activating quantum reversal field. Just as the Imperial weapon prepared to fire, a new type of beam shot up from Earth. This one was different. Instead of destroying, it connected with the flagship's weapon systems and reversed their energy flow. The mighty cannon that was supposed to destroy a city instead exploded inside its housing, tearing a massive hole in the Imperial ship. "Admiral," Dale screamed. "The weapon. They turned it against us." How? How did they know how to do that? Rex finally understood. He walked to the command console and opened a channel to all surviving Imperial ships. "This is Admiral Rex. We have lost. Earth is not what we thought. They are not primitive. They are not weak. They have technology we've never seen before. They let us think they were primitive. They let us come here. They let us walk into their trap." In the command center, they listened to Rex's revelation. Thompson looked at Miller. "Should we finish them?" Miller considered for a moment. "Let's hear what else he has to say. The Empire should know exactly why they lost today." Rex's voice continued, now broadcasting to both his surviving ships and Earth. "We came here expecting to find simple weapons and primitive defenses. Instead, we found a civilization that has mastered quantum physics in ways we never imagined possible. They hid their true power and waited for us to make a mistake." He paused, coughing as more smoke filled the bridge. "To any Imperial ships that can still hear me, Earth is not a Category 3 civilization. They are far beyond anything we've ever encountered. Do not return here. Do not." His transmission cut off as another quantum beam struck his flagship. The mighty vessel, pride of the Imperial fleet, broke apart in a spectacular explosion. Thompson looked at his display. 15 enemy ships remain. Should we let any of them escape to tell the story? Miller nodded slowly. "Yes. Let them run. Let them tell the Empire what happened when they tried to conquer Earth. Let them tell everyone what happens when you underestimate humanity." 1 week after the battle, the sky above Earth had cleared of debris. The remains of nearly 300 Imperial warships had been collected by Earth's previously hidden space fleet. In the command center, General Thompson watched as the last surviving Imperial ships jumped into hyperspace, carrying their message of defeat back to the Empire. "Play the broadcast again," he ordered. The main screen lit up with Earth's message to the galaxy, now broadcasting on all Imperial frequencies. Director Miller's voice echoed through space. "To the Galactic Empire and all other civilizations, Earth is now revealing its true nature. We are not the primitive world you thought we were. We have mastered technologies you never imagined possible. We chose to hide our strength, and you chose to test it. Remember what happened here today." Around the world, cities emerged from their bunkers. The fake panic was replaced by celebration. Humanity had not only survived its first alien invasion, it had crushed the invaders so completely that the story would become legend throughout the galaxy. In the Imperial Palace, light years away, the Emperor watched the battle recordings in stunned silence. His best fleet, destroyed in under an hour. His most advanced weapons, turned useless by quantum technology his scientists didn't even understand. His mighty empire had been humbled by a world they'd thought primitive. "Update the records," he ordered his trembling advisors. "Earth is now classified as a Category 1 civilization. No Imperial ships are to enter their solar system. Mark all approach routes with warnings." The humans. He paused, still shocked by the defeat. The humans are not to be challenged. Back on Earth, Director Miller stood in her old laboratory, now revealed to the public. The quantum generator that had started everything 30 years ago still hummed quietly in the corner. A young scientist approached her with a tablet. "Director, you should see this," he said. Our deep space sensors are picking up massive fleet movements. The Empire is withdrawing from every system within 1,000 light-years of Earth. They're creating a buffer zone around us." Miller smiled. "They finally learned to respect humanity, but they still don't understand." "What do you mean?" "They think our quantum technology is our greatest weapon, but they're wrong." She walked to the window, looking at the city below. "Our greatest weapon was our patience, our ability to hide our strength, to work together, to keep secrets, to plan for decades. No other civilization we've detected has shown that kind of unity and dedication." In orbit, Earth's real space stations now emerged from their quantum cloaking fields. Massive structures that had been invisible even to Imperial sensors revealed themselves. Humanity no longer needed to hide its true power. General Thompson joined Miller in her lab. "The President wants to make an announcement to Earth. He's going to reveal everything. The 30-year plan, the hidden technology, the real reason we kept our space program looking primitive." "It's time," Miller agreed. "But make sure everyone understands. We're not going to become like the Empire. We won't use our power to conquer. We'll use it to protect." Thompson nodded. "The quantum shield network is now fully visible. Every nation on Earth is protected. We're finally ready to take our place among the stars." "Not just among them," Miller corrected. "Above them. Not because we're stronger, but because we're smarter. The Empire had better technology when they arrived, but we had something better. We had strategy." As night fell over Earth, its cities glowed with real power now, no longer hiding their true nature. The quantum shield grid created beautiful patterns of light in the sky, a constant reminder that humanity was no longer pretending to be primitive. In deep space, the surviving Imperial ships carried their warning to the galaxy. Earth was not weak. Earth was not primitive. Earth had simply been patient, and any civilization that mistook patience for weakness would learn the same harsh lesson the Empire had learned. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and they had arrived with a bang that would echo through the cosmos for centuries to come.